Let's go. Yo. Get up, nah I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast. And that's facts.
Well, hello. What's up, beautiful people? It's a beautiful Saturday, bear ski morning. Very excited to be with you guys. I'm traveling across the country with my guy, the Jakester, and we are just unpacking so much Bears content. There's so much out there, so much to talk about. I'm really excited about it. Jake, how you doing, buddy?
Doing wonderful after hearing what Ben Johnson had to say.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's lead off with the Ben Johnson comment. What did he have to say about everything that's going on through the first 3 days of training camp?
Ben Johnson's a reporter came out and asked him how he feels about what the offense was going through the first couple of days, and he said, "We're not frustrated at all. We're right where we need to be." I think when I see that, it makes me feel like he's okay when these players are making mistakes because they're fixable mistakes and they're coachable mistakes that are going to make these guys better.
Yeah, I like how he said that. We're right where we need to be. It's like pause. Like okay, day 3, third practice. Let's calm down. And everybody has seen what he's built. Darn near 60 rushing touchdowns, about 68 um, attempts on offense, per game. So he says we're going to run the ball about 30, 31 times a game, and we're going to have about 68 plays on the offense. So that gives us 68 bullets. That's pretty cool, ain't it?
I think that's awesome. Getting all that excitement, and it's just really going to help the team with their energy and what they see, because these players, when they see the media, a lot of the times they just let it go right over their head because that's what they're trained to do. But it also does help when they notice stuff like positive effects for the future.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody's looking at, all eyes are on Ben Johnson right now. There's been a few times that the Bears haven't got it right, but they feel really good about, you know, Ben Johnson coming in from Detroit Lions and his success with the offense and everything like that. Obviously, his defense is shining out when he went out and got Dennis Allen. I mean, he didn't waste any time securing that guy. It wasn't like he was all about offense and no defense. I feel like he went out and got a guy 25, 26 years in the league. I mean, honestly, you know, he's going to be way better than the defensive coordinator that they had in Detroit with Glenn. So, yeah, and, you get to hear a little bit about the defenses too and what's going on over there. I'm excited about both sides of the ball, man. Sometimes I'm on here and I don't know which one to talk about first. Which one do you want to talk about?
You know what? I think we'll stick with the offense here because I got a little piece of information that I like to hear. Um, Luther Burden, second round pick. He was mad and determined. He wanted that first round pick. He believes that he deserved to be that first wide receiver in this draft pick. And now we see he's injured, and that's not a great thing to see in a rookie. And he's going through some, what is it, his hamstring, I believe?
Yeah.
Hamstring issues. And he's recovering well. But you like to hear DJ Moore was asked how he's doing. He said he's doing everything he can other than getting his pads on and running those routes. He knows his plays. That's what DJ Moore went out and said. He knows his plays, and he's getting that mental toughness to get ready to get back on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that he knows his plays and he's keeping his head in the game, because honestly, you can check out in situations like that and things could get really, really rough, when guys are not on the field. And honestly, some of that can go to your head and just be like, all right, I've made it. I'm good. Let my guard down.
Yeah,
Everything's fine. All that. But I feel like when we get this kid on the field, he's going to make an impact,
yeah, for sure. And I think one of the things that stood out to many people was his attitude. He's like that guy where it's a Sunday night game. He loses. He's not going home to go to sleep and get that rest. He's going in the facility. He's working on his mistakes, and he's fixing every little possible thing that he could fix about himself to make himself that great receiver that he wants to be.
And I mean, players like to play, and there's part of it where you have to do the film room, the classwork, learn the playbook, all that. It's not sexy, it's not fun, but it's needed. And what do you do with what you got is what matters. And what he's got right now, he doesn't have a clean bill of health, so he's focusing on the mental side,
100%.
and learning the playbook and doing. He's not like, well, I'm just going to check out till I'm healthy and then start to work from, my physical to my mental.
For sure.
Taking care of the mental right now while he's trying to get that, back physically.
Yeah, he's taking care of what he needs to take care of. And, that's a big part about a new organization and having a new head coach like Ben Johnson. If he can learn Ben Johnson's plays when he gets healthy, he's going to go out there and he's going to know the backhand of the book because that's all he can do right now. And if he's doing whatever he can do with what he's got, that's all that matters.
Right. I mean, I like everybody that we've got. I like everybody. Ryan Poles was on Sirius XM radio a little bit while we were on the road. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff here. I like what Ryan had to say also. I like Dennis Allen's approach. I mean, you know, and I like Ben Johnson's approach also. Um, Here's what I will say: going to the running back room, it sounds like everybody is dialed in over there. I mean, Swift, he gets beat up a lot by national media and our fans and stuff, and we've been critical on him and whatnot. But here's the deal: if you're gonna make excuses and you're gonna say that the passing game suffered from the lack of protection from the offensive line, that same offensive line is the line that creates holes for your running back. And I like what DeAndre's doing. They say he's doing great. He's catching some balls. He's running some good routes. They interviewed him also on Sirius XM. I thought that was a good interview, and then talked about Roshan and but we talked a little bit yesterday on the show. You and I did, Jake, about Monangai. I feel pretty good right now about the as a committee about our running back room, don't you?
I'm getting really excited about it, because during the draft there was a lot of questionable players that the Bears people thought were going to target certain running backs. Quick Duckets, great thing we didn't go get him. Anyway,
isn't he locked up or something
he's
or in trouble?
He's behind bars, and a lot of people wanted Cam Scadaboot. And after watching some of Monangai's film and seeing his attitude, his play style, he's a very confident player. And that's one of the things that's needed in that running back room, because if you're not confident in your play style, you're going to try and change yourself for the worst, and it's not going to be good. And the media likes to target the problems in the NFL world. They always like to go after the negatives instead of trying to look at the positives. Like all we see recently is DeAndre Swift is dropping a couple passes, he's dropped a couple balls, but then they look at the running back style and how shifty he is. And like Brandon was saying earlier, when you don't, people all look at Caleb Williams and say, oh, he had so much potential, he didn't have the offensive line. You know who needed that offensive line? DeAndre Swift. He needed it just as much as Caleb Williams, and that's what bothers me, that no one notices that.
And so did the defense too, because when you keep the defense off the field and you run the ball and you set up the pass and all that stuff, it all works together. And we were just passing the ball way too damn much, not just because of a rookie, but just in general. And that's why you look at Ben Johnson throughout the last 3 years. The reason why they've had so much success, almost 60 touchdowns running the football is because they like to run, and they're doing damn near 50% of their plays come from the run. Now we don't remember that, because the splash, the big plays that we look at, and all of that kind of stuff. But it matters. There's a lot going on there, and I'm glad that Ben Johnson is dedicated to making this run game successful. It's going to take a lot of pressure off of everybody, and we're going to be well rounded. I think it's going to be good, Jake.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good in that offensive line room. I'm loving what I'm hearing. Ozzie Chapalo, I love seeing him because people are going out and saying an offensive coordinator, Declan Doyle, he said Ozzie Chapalo looks like a rookie, but he feels like a veteran. He knows what he's doing. He's confident in what he's doing. And he does have his rookie mistakes here and there. We heard yesterday he jumped off sides at one point.
Start, yeah.
And that needs to be cleaned up. But those are the small little problems that can get cleaned up. But I love hearing that he's handling the D line great. And once we get padded up, we'll see a difference. But that's making me excited.
Yeah, and what about the fact that they're actually calling out the false start offsides? Like, I really feel like, one false start offsides, not just the fans, but it starts with the staff. It starts with the players, and everybody is really looking at everything. And I like that because those things are going to get cleaned up now. And if we're looking at it like that, normally you don't put that kind of pressure on a rookie, like, oh, false start. Well, it's going to happen. He's a rookie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even a veteran will do it. But, like, that's exactly what Declan Doyle's saying. He feels like a veteran. So they're already holding him accountable as if he were a veteran. So to me, what happens when you have a veteran that makes everyone else on the offensive line look small, and and you hold him accountable as a veteran, he might start like a veteran.
Yeah, he's going to start playing like a veteran.
Yeah.
And you know what? That goes off what we were talking about yesterday, the accountability thing. Our offensive line, I feel like these past couple of years has gotten used to being okay with jumping off sides, and nothing happened when they jumped off sides. Nothing, they had a little slap on the wrist, and that was it. And I honestly think that those coaches back at training camp, I think that they're going to be holding these guys accountable. There's going to be at least some form of a punishment here or there for jumping off sides and making these minor mistakes.
Yeah, and that Thuney, man, I'll tell you what, he is worth his weight in gold because he's right next to that veteran. He's going to clean that up, help him out, let him see and identify what he's doing, what he did wrong, and to have that guy on the field, almost like a player's coach, along with obviously an actual coach that we do have now.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, first time I ever heard, what do you call it? Olin Kreutz get excited about an offensive line coach, so that'll tell you that we're headed in the right direction. I like everything, man. I'm excited. And when you look over on the right side too, we don't spend enough time talking about the right side. I mean, you've got Jonah Jackson over there.
Darnell Wright over there.
And Darnell Wright, and they look like brothers. You could barely tell the difference. I mean, it's like they're separated at birth or something. And they're not even talking about like the physical looks. They're talking about the aggressive play style. And I think that's going to be really good for Jonah to be there with Wright and vice versa. And Dahlman's right there in the center helping out, Jonah, and Thuney's helping out, Dahlman also. I mean, it's going to be great for PFF to say that we've got one of the top offensive lines in the NFL. I mean, you look at the defensive backs and you say, okay, we got some of the best defensive backs in the league, hands down. But now you're saying that about our offensive line. We went from worst to almost first. I mean, that quick of a turnaround, and now we've got two positional, rooms that are, looking like top shelf material in the NFL. I mean, who's to say we won't see more by the end of the season, Jake?
For sure. And I like going off of that. when you have these great groups, it makes the rest of the team better. Last year we looked at our offensive line. It hands down could have been number 32 in the league,
Yeah.
because the amount of times that we let our rookie quarterback get sacked, and nothing was getting held accountable. But now that you see these great offensive linemen getting great reps, it's also strengthening our defensive line, because they have more competition fighting against these players. And Montez Sweat, he's known to be, he's a great defensive end. He has a great mentality. He's a captain, and you can't have him going up against bums, because if you have him going up against bums, he's not going to get any better, and it's not going to do him any good for the games. Him going up against guys like Darnell Wright and getting good reps against Tooney in certain one-on-ones, that's going to strengthen both of them.
I'll tell you what, I like what you said there, because I had a linebacker when I played, and he helped me out tremendously with, playing on the offensive line, because he could see exactly the things that I needed to clean up and work on. My body language, where, I favored, whether it be, a pass block or a run block. He would always get in, tell me, hey, listen, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I said, okay, well, and it worked. It helped. He's the mirror image. He's out on the field. He actually has a way better view than even my coaches that are on the sideline. So when you get guys that are on the defense helping the offense out and vice versa, and then it's like a healthy competition, because when I was interviewing all, the 85 Bears and Mongo's friends and all that, the one thing that they always joked around about was who made who better. Did the offensive line make the defensive line better, or vice versa? And
that's a good question to have.
Yeah, I mean, the famous saying is a high tide raises all ships. So now we've got an offensive line that's going to make the defense better. And guess what? You get a defensive line that makes the defensive backs' jobs easier, and you're going to be able to see more of those defensive backs really cut loose, because before they were doing a lot of work, because
you see
our defensive line was banged up.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of our players coming back this year in our defensive line spot. Jervon Dexter looks even better. So, and like you said, that's going to strengthen our DBs. And going off of what you said, our DBs are we have probably almost one of the best defensive back core in the NFL.
Yep.
But then you look at our offense and you look at our receivers like Luther Burden and Roma Dunze. Those guys are rookies, and going up against a star defensive back and star defensive backs, that's only going to make them better. And that's going to get them used to having to struggle and get around stuff and work harder. And I love that, because I think we're going to see a lot from Roma Dunze this year. I really do. Because last year, I think Keenan Allen being in there kind of took Roma Dunze off the spotlight a little bit. I really think we're going to see a lot of Roma Dunze this year. We already seen it in training camp. We've seen Caleb Williams targeting him a lot, quite a bit. Deep balls, short balls, mid-range balls. I love that he's such a multi-threat athlete.
Yeah, I'm excited about Rome, and we all knew he was going to do good. We didn't know for sure. I mean, you got the sophomore slump potentially, whatever, but he's already coming out there looking good on his cross routes, wooing the fans and everybody that's watching out at training camp. And shout out to everybody that's out at training camp. I'll tell you what, I think it's flat out BS that those freaking tickets go as fast as they do. Whoever it is that's out there that's gobbling them up, shame on you. Your day's coming, pal. And leave it to the fans. Quit trying to freaking make a buck off. Like, everything doesn't have to be a situation where you make bucks off people. Like, let us go to this training camp and enjoy it with the rest of us. When you turn that on, as soon as you turn it on, you got to turn it off because all the tickets are gobbled up. That's flat out ridiculous, man.
It's disrespectful, and we actually see that in the NFL a little bit. We've seen earlier over 100 players were fined for selling Super Bowl tickets.
Yeah.
You can't see that. This franchise of the NFL, it needs to show a little bit more respect, I think.
Yeah. Freaking go get those guys. Cuff them. Whatever you got to do. It's ridiculous. You got to stop. Shame on you, buddy. Your day's coming. Your days are numbered. But I don't know, man. I think out of everything that I see so far, there's so many good things. They've talked about a lot, like right now, even though right now there's still issues. Ben Johnson saying, getting back to the very beginning, we're right where we need to be. We're not saying that we're looking for perfection. We are looking for progress, and that's what we're having right now. I mean, it's not a light switch. Everything ain't gonna be perfect, and the same team that you see in training camp ain't gonna be the same team you see in week 1, week 10, or week 18, or who knows, playoffs, whatever. But all I'm saying is there is a lot to unpack. There's a lot to work out, and I mean, what I like about what we're building is you see so many layers of development and growth, and so much on the back end as the front end. I mean, sometimes you can load in the front end talent and not have any back end, and as the year moves on, now all of a sudden you've got huge gaps and no one to fill them, and that's when you get beat up. But the fact that they're shoring up this offense from the 1 to 50 players is something that is definitely has been needed to be done for a while. I mean, back even with the Urlacher years and all of that, like, somebody went down, that was it. It was a huge gap. But I really like what they're doing here, Jake. I feel like they're building something, and it goes back to what Pohl said kind of prematurely, very prematurely, where he says we're going to take the North and never give it back. And I mean,
you need that confidence in a coach like that.
yeah.
And I like that you're talking about having depth, because we've seen Ozzy Trapalo. He's playing pretty good, but he's fluctuating within the first and second group because Kieran Amagaji's coming up and getting in some competition. And having competition like that is going to make these players work harder for what they want and what they believe in. So if we see Kieran Amagaji coming in, getting first string reps, that's going to make Ozzy Trapalo want to work harder, and vice versa. And having that kind of competition is great for the team.
Oh yeah, and you still have Braxton Jones. I mean, he's trying to get healthy. He's trying to get out there, and that's one more person. And now everybody's like, well, if Ozzy does good, if Karam does good, do you trade Braxton? I think that's a great situation to be in when you're asking questions like that, instead of we got to hold on to everybody because we barely have anybody and there's a lot of nobody. So I'm liking it. I think it's good, Jake.
Yeah, I think that's great. Just because Braxton Jones, while he's getting healthy, you never know. Some guys, when they get hurt, they come back 10 times stronger than they were before. Every once in a while, an injury can take a toll on a player, but sometimes that rest for whatever's injured is needed. These players, when they get injured, they get determined. They study the playbook. They study things that they've never studied before, and I think that can make him come out as stronger than he ever has before.
Yeah, that, and like we touched on yesterday, it all starts at the top. And if you don't have a good coach, if you don't have a good staff, offensive line coach, we haven't had. So really, we haven't seen what Braxton is capable of. Serviceable, yes. Good, yeah, sure. But where is his potential at? We don't know. Now he's watching his teammates shine and do well, training camp, all that good stuff. A rookie's knocking on his door. If there's anything that could motivate a man,
Hello?
is that you've got a guy that's on the
Hello?
that is chomping at the bit, and right on your heels, man, right on your heels, trying to take your job. So
Well, he's probably going to be on for a while.
if he continues to do that, and he continues to have that
Stop for Waffle House.
inside built-in competition, that's great. But if you're the only guy in the building that has any type of freaking skill, and it's limited skill, how do you know what it looks like? How can iron sharpen iron when
Whatever.
all you have is one piece of iron and a whittle stick or something, So I don't know. Like, I just think that right now, Jake, basically what you got is a lot of iron sharpening each other up on three different levels.
Okay, I'll text
Three different offensive linemen only at the left tackle, but I really think that like a couple of those guys could legit move over. I've seen where they're talking about moving Karan because he's played guard too, being a swing guard tackle slash, and also the same thing with Braxton. So, I mean, that's a good problem to have, right, Jake?
That's a great problem to have because if you can find these players to move around and motion around, I think that's great because you don't want to just see talent and leave them in a second string spot just because there's a better player in front of them. You could always fluctuate and find a spot that they can start and improve our team.
Yeah, and it's good when you can bounce around and go from place. I mean, honestly, if you're willing to do that, and I hope somebody out there hears this. This is a transitional skill, not just for football, but in life in general. If you're willing to do the dirty work, if you're willing to roll up your sleeves and say, and instead of saying, why me, say, try me. Don't say why me, say try me. Don't cry me a river. Freaking help me get over that river. Build a bridge, damn it. Let's go, man. Get everybody to get on your freaking back. Let's make it freaking happen, Jack. That's what you got to do. Roll up the sleeves, boots on the ground, quit crying, start trying. And I think that's what's happening right now. And Ben Johnson is leading by example. You saw bags under his eyes. He's not worried about that dad bod freaking I got a good beard like Eberflus getting on those interviews early and all that kind of stuff, trying to be pally wally best friends and stuff. No, man, he's saying, you move like an old man. He's got guys in there that are saying that, and he's really, hey, let's get rid of those cell phones, all that stuff, man. He's got a culture there that's saying, you know what, I'm okay. I'm getting comfortable being uncomfortable with you players because guess what? I'm not scared if you're offended or hurt or disappointed that I'm coming at you hard.
For sure. I like that you say that because again goes off that discipline and getting hard on these kids and these young players because you see these veterans and some of these veterans think that they can get away with everything. And I hate to bash on one of our players, but you see DJ Moore last year, he lost a little hope one game and he just stepped out of bounds and acted like he was injured, but turns out he was perfectly fine. I think Ben Johnson coming in and not allowing that is going to form these players and mold these players into animals we've never seen before.
Well, you know what? Here's the deal, man. I agree exactly what you're saying, and I do like one thing. Everybody was worried about DeAndre Swift and him getting a swift kick in the butt and getting kicked out of there because they said, "Oh, well, Ben Johnson didn't need him in Detroit." Hold this for a second. What about if you flip the script and say, "Listen, you had one chance with me. Maybe I didn't have it. Maybe I did have a say in it. Now I have a say in it again. You got a second chance. What are you going to do with your second chance?" This is saying to all the people in the building that as long as you grind and as long as you try hard and you're on the roster, you can carve out a spot by your ability, what you're doing. Not because you're a starter, because you got drafted top, because you got a high contract or whatever. Basically, he's saying, "Hey, Swift, let's see what you got, buddy. And I'm going to put some competition around you because Rashawn, he looks like he's doing good. Your boy Monangai, he looks like he's doing good." So I like all of that. I like the inner, competition within the ranks, Jake.
I agree with that a lot because if, say, for instance, you only have two decent, you go over there and look at the Lions.
Yep.
They've got David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs.
Yep.
And that's great. That's arguably the best running back duo in the NFL.
Yeah.
But you look past that. Who do they have past that? Who's fighting for that top two spot?
Yeah.
And sometimes that can affect teams. And last year you looked at it, we had DeAndre Swift and Roshan Johnson. That was it. We didn't really have anyone fighting for that next spot. And, we have Kyle Monangai fighting for all these spots. It's going to strengthen that entire running back core because they're all busting their ass to try and get that spot.
And they might be, basically like trying to audition for next year's second string spot to still be on the team. But this whole team and the running back room might look entirely different next year, because who knows, we might actually be drafting next year our starting running backs,
for sure. And a lot of guys this year looked at it and they were like, you know what, it would be crazy to go get an Ashton Jinty or a guy like that. And I love seeing these like questions, looking guys looking in the future saying, what position group would the Bears need next year? If all of these positions turn out great, that's a great problem to have. All of our players are good. We don't need a specific player in that draft. That's a great problem, because if you can go out and get whoever you want, that means you can get the most talented person in the draft, and that's huge for an NFL draft.
Yeah, best player available. I mean, if it's a running back, go out and get it and shore up your, like you're running the ball almost 50% of the time. Go address it and make it better. Why not, right?
100%, whether that's a great offensive lineman, whether that's a running back, whether that's a great receiver, great corner, it doesn't matter. If you have all the positions you need and you don't really have spots to critique, that's when you go get the best player in the draft.
Guys, make sure you do us a favor. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this show with everybody. We've got a jersey giveaway at the end of the month. We already had one last month. We're going to have one every month thereafter. Yeah, and like I said, man, we appreciate everything, all your love, support, and we couldn't do it without you, man. We love you guys. We hope you have a great day. We hope you can make it to training camp, and if you don't, tune in with us. We'll talk about it. We'll be about it. We'll have some good times. So until then, man, Chi-Town up and bear down.